Well, hey, Lori.
Hey, Dori.
We have another Lori on today. I'm going to be sandwiched by the two Loris. This is great.
It's a great interview. And, one thing we didn't talk about that we want to say about Lori is that she started, ground floor started this group called the Utah Leading Ladies. Mm-hmm. So it's all about getting these people of like mind, women, together to network and build relationships, help each other. And it really is a great group. And we went there, last week? And
well, I joined a couple of months ago. I've gone a couple of times and just fell in love with it. And even if you don't, it isn't just for anybody just with a business. It's with anybody with an idea or if they have a business, all walks of life. Right. And it's just really like a group where you can not only network, but kind of get supported and meet friends. And, I just love to keep going because I just learn so much. And they always have a presentation and you learn, look at the way I'm dressed today. I totally learned this at Utah Leading Ladies today and put it to work.
She's looking good.
Yeah.
Too.
And so you go there, you're networking, you're making friends, you're laughing, you're doing these, some drills that help to break the ice so that you get to know other people and you learn something there because they have presentations. So
a lot of great ladies.
Yeah.
And, she's taking this worldwide.
She's only had it for 2 years. She started it 2 years
unbelievable.
ago.
So this whole organization is going worldwide. So by the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, so after March, it's going to be virtually worldwide. And then she's hoping that by the end of the third quarter, that it will be
a physical presence in each state. And it will be called it'll be called USA Leading Ladies.
Yeah. So if you hear about that, it'd be a great place to jump on if you want some support for your business, some networking, making some friends, and learning some stuff, and you feel like you need some advice, then that's a real safe place, I think, to go and ask for advice.
And did we even say her name?
Oh, Lori Hildebrand.
Yep, Lori Hildebrand, LoriHildebrand.com.
Yeah, so listen, especially if you have a business or you want to start a business or you have been running something and you feel like you're running yourself into the ground. She's a great person she's a business coach. Mm-hmm. So she's got some great experience and a great person to talk to. So she's going to share her vision. I can't talk today for some reason. But she's going to share her vision with us on what she would like to see other ladies achieve and what she does. And if you want to get a hold of her, you can, or find somebody like her if, you need to do that. But I think that the things she has to say is really great and important and will bring organization and peace into your life.
Yeah, at least get you thinking in another direction when it comes to money.
Yeah, we need all that.
We need that.
Yeah, we need it.
Well, listen up.
Hey, here we go.
You're listening to Fit and Hippie with Dori and Lori. The show is about the show that covers the show that gets into
Exactly. Hi, Lori. You, young lady, would not answer your phone or text today. What the heck?
I know.
What's going on?
Because I stick my phone in my purse with my ringer off. I don't know what my problem is. My kids are always like, Mom, I can never get a hold of you. I have to get a hold of Sean to talk to you.
I did the same thing. I messaged Sean. I'm like, Lori's not answering her phone or text. Is she at home? He goes, let me get her.
Well, I think I don't like having those little noises for every little thing that, an email or a whatever. So I'm just like, okay, never mind. So I turn it off and forget to turn it back on.
I need to do that more often. I actually have it down as a goal of mine to have a no phone all day, no technology day, trying to do it a couple times a month.
Yeah, I have to make myself get into technology.
Yeah.
I got my eye twitch.
She's got a twitch.
I got a twitch.
Every time we sit down and podcast
what the heck
anymore.
is happening with my eye?
Eye twitch?
It's me.
It's Dori.
I'm giving
Dori
you
makes me twitch.
I make a lot of people twitch. It's called being uncomfortable.
Oh my, not at all. That is like the furthest from the truth.
Hey, do you want to talk about our guest today? This is going to be great. You kind of can hear her back there in the background sipping her tea. And...
You know, it's funny because we were talking about what she does and everything, and I never asked her the name of her business or anything.
Yeah, it's Lori. It's just another
Lori.
Lori. It's another Lori.
Lori, and Dori today.
Yeah, Lori and Lori, or Lori and Dori, or Dori and Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah, however you want to say it.
I want to be sandwiched between the two Loris.
Dori and Lori.
We'll call ourselves the LDL show.
There we go.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, completely. Whoa.
Yeah, so Laura, I'm going to have you introduce yourself so you can kind of tell us a little bit more about you and what you do. We're excited to have her here today. We actually met her at the Utah Leading Ladies, which is a great organization, and Dori and I even posted a picture of us going there this last week to kind of make some connections. So most of our listeners probably are not in Utah, so we won't talk a lot about that, but Lori does lead that group that we went to.
Although it's expanding so that others can participate.
Yeah,
Soon it'll be
It's
United
Leading
States
Ladies,
or
it's Leading Ladies USA.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
very
it's
cool.
going both virtual and physical locations national. So it'll be kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, that will be. So
Yeah.
keep your ear to the ground and
It's
listen to
coming.
that.
It's
Yeah.
coming. So
So who are you,
yeah.
anyways?
Oh, that is a loaded question, Dori. Who am I? So I'm Lori Hildebrand. Like I said, my business is technically LHB Consulting, but you would never find it that way. It's just LoriHildebrand.com. What I do is really help women who have inconsistent incomes create more consistency.
Love
so
that.
that's creating more choices in their life, creating a really systematized business and paying attention to their numbers, right? We've talked about how so many people say they're in business, but really it's a super expensive hobby.
Yeah,
And I
right?
just would love more people to stop being a hobby, right?
Yeah.
Make some
and
money
actually
at
make
what
some
you're
money. Let's
doing.
quit
Yeah.
talking about it and actually make it happen.
Well, and if you're
Yeah.
providing a good service or you're talented and artistic or, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and people want what you have to offer,
Right.
then there's no reason to not have it monetized at some level.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean you can't still give away things free and do all that, because that's great. Charity's awesome.
For sure. But the more systematized and the more you can make and earn income from it, the more people you can serve, right? The
Right.
bigger the business is, the more people you can serve, the more good you do in the world.
Yeah,
But
for
you
sure.
can't do that for free, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of creating those boundaries and creating the system and just paying attention. It's just looking at your numbers and say, how many more people can I serve?
Yep.
And then the money is going to come in because of it.
Well, and certainly the more money you have, the more people you can serve. I mean, it's kind of like
Yeah.
a big circle. And so
Right.
if that is,
Right.
if that's ultimately your core value or the goal that you're really wanting is to touch other people in some level,
Right.
the more money you have, unfortunately, in this society, the more you're going to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more you can get
Yeah.
your message out and the more you can help whatever your service or your product or your industry is, it doesn't really matter. It all comes down to people, right? And so
for
that's
sure.
the core of my business, is really giving women more of a choice, right? What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of business do you want to create? And all of that comes down to paying attention to how you're putting yourself out there, how you're building your systems, how you're building your business strategically so that you in turn can have your life. I don't want anyone to work 80 hours a week, right?
right.
We all have other stuff. I want you to work less and make more.
Well, which sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, because that's very interesting also.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started in the financial services world. So I got my Series 7 when I was 20 years old. Wow. Series 7 allows you to trade stocks, basically. So I was a stock and bond trader for many years, and which sounds fancier than it really is. It's just it's a lot of fast pace, a lot of math, a lot of stuff going on.
yeah.
But I was a trader in the online trading world for several years, and then I got more into wealth management and really got more into the people side and loved it and started really seeing that I loved training. So I was a VP in like Smith Barney and at Morgan Stanley and all these big firms. and really got out training more people how to build a better business. And my biggest thing too is training them like, you can still have your life. You can be good people. You don't have to all be jerks.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, we can all be nice
right.
and still build a really great business, right?
Yeah.
And so training all these financial advisors, and that morphed into training more women how to build the same thing and how to transition. But yeah, I morphed kind of from the corporate world into full-time entrepreneur world the same year that I was getting a divorce, which kind of came out of nowhere.
See, you can do it all.
You can do it all. I figured, I'm getting a divorce. I might as well, leave my cushy 6-figure job while I have 2 small kids. They were 3 and 7 at the time.
Start a new business.
And start a brand new business that I've, never done before. So that was super.
Wow.
And that same year I decided I was invited to go to Kenya, Africa on a humanitarian trip. I'd never had a passport. I'd never left the country. Again, small kids. And I'm like, sure, this is what newly divorced crazy people do, right? I'm going to leave the country, leave my job and start a business.
And leave my kids.
Leave my kids. Like for 2 weeks, we're good. So all worked out.
That is amazing.
And so that happened during that first year. And here I am several years later. I've been doing this for almost, let's see, gosh, what year are we in? 2020. So it's like almost 8 years I've been doing this. So,
awesome.
So full-time as a full-time business owner for 7 years.
That's great.
And served hundreds and hundreds of women and have seen businesses grow and change and impact their lives. And so me creating this and serving and getting out in the world and pushing through my fears, and believe me, there was a lot of fears, you guys. There's so much fear,
there
and it
is.
still comes up. But
to speak to that too, because we've been involved with watching some documentaries being made about money, and most of the men were interviewed. And what it came down to, what we started to talk about behind the scenes, is women's idea about money is different than men's. Men's, it's almost like a sport.
Indeed.
Like, when they're
Something
like
to
trying to
conquer.
build money and then they're investing in stuff. And for women, there's a fear.
Right.
We have fear based around money.
There's a lot of
Security
emotion.
is tied up in money, emotion. And so when we started interviewing women, a lot of them were talking about feelings and the emotions of it and stuff. When men, they don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
They talk about,
for sure.
it really almost is more of a
divide
sport.
and conquer.
Yes, it's like the more and how do you get
Multiply and
this, and then
conquer.
yes, exactly.
Right.
And so, and neither is bad or good.
Yeah.
It's just
Exactly.
that there's a difference between how
Yeah.
women look at money and what it means to us as we try to build wealth compared to how men look at money, even though we're trying to go the same direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
We
know?
all ultimately have the same goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We want to provide a good life. We want to provide a growing business and
Yeah.
provide for our families and whatever that looks like, whether, especially from a female perspective, if you're single, if you're widowed, if you're divorced, if you're happily married, it doesn't matter. It's if you choose this path, what are you really ultimately choosing, right? What is this money serving? What is this
Yeah.
doing for your life? How are you choosing to move forward? And if it's a hobby, great. But if you want to move past that and you actually want to build a business that provides all of these things for you, then let's really look at those numbers and let's really look at the actions. And again, it doesn't take a lot of time. It just is a shift in perspective. And a lot of it is women tend to not want to ask questions. And I think that's a big part of the emotion behind it, because we think we should have it all figured out and we look really good and we're doing a really good job and we show up to networking events and yes, my business is going really well, but really I'm the busiest broke person I know, right?
Well, we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of financial education. We just don't have that. And we want to have, I believe women now, where I'm at in a lot of different stages, are wanting our own independence, our own financial independence, whether we are married or whatever, or single, or it doesn't matter. You just don't know what can happen.
Right.
You can have a divorce. My husband passed away. You need to have a place where you can make it on your own.
Right.
And so it's important for us to have that kind of education and be able to know how to handle our finances.
And really understand and not have the fear of asking.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing is a lot of women, especially if you have not been in that space and you're suddenly thrown into it. Yeah, my divorce, like I said, came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'd been in the industry and I managed it, and so I was not afraid of money. I was not afraid of doing it.
Yeah.
But I have several people who have come to me who have, or becoming a widow, or things happen. And so I think the biggest thing is not being afraid to ask questions and really getting in there and saying what's happening, what can we do differently, what can we do better, and knowing what's happening and how you can ultimately manage yourself.
Yeah. Especially since they didn't teach this in school.
No.
Right.
They don't teach
No.
any of this in school. And
I'm sorry. What is your typical client? What does your typical client look like? So if you could give us an example, maybe some ladies out there can kind of relate to that.
So I typically work with women in a service industry. So women who typically have control, they're creating their own business. So I do have some financial advisors, still real estate agents, but my favorite kind of client and most women that come to me are women who either are, someone who is a coach or a massage therapist, or they do hair, or they do some sort of service industry where they have control over their products and pricing. That's the biggest thing. So, but it's also a woman who loves what she does. She's so passionate about it. She probably has kids at home, or she probably has kids who have just left their home, and she's now ready to put more energy into this business. And she's had this as a hobby, or she's ready to leave the corporate world, and this has been a little side hustle for a while, and now I'm ready to really put that effort into it.
Yeah.
And we can shift it to be more strategic. Again, so it's not necessarily more time, it's just more strategic, and we're focusing on the right things to start making money. So it's women who, service industry, but are inconsistent with their income, and they want more consistency and growth.
And what are some of the things that you get women to focus on, for example? I mean, so putting your focus in the right area, what does that look like? I mean...
Yeah, so it's a combination. So I think the first part of it is paying attention to numbers, and what that looks like is knowing what it costs to run your business.
Yeah.
So really getting down and dirty. What are your COGS? What are your cost of goods? And what are your operating expenses?
Okay.
Most people will guess, and they will drastically underestimate what it really costs, right? Those things like your website, if you have a virtual assistant, if you have memberships, if you have trainings, if you have things like that, your operating expenses. If you have physical, tangible widgets, what are your cost of goods to build those widgets and create those? Or if you're buying wholesale to sell retail, same thing. What does that cost? Understanding, but then on the flip side also, what does it cost to run your life? If we don't attach it to something real in your life, it's always just out there. So attaching it to your life and saying, what does it really cost me to run my life? And that becomes our focus. So I want women to understand, what does it cost to run your business? What does it cost to run your life? And then we can work backwards to create your gross income, which is your sales goal, right? What really is your sales goal? So if someone says, well, I want to make 6 figures this year, great. That's about $8,300 a month, right? Gross, if you want that to be your sales, but that's not what's going in your pocket.
Right.
So if you want that in your pocket, we need to add whatever it costs to run your business, and you might need to earn $10,000 a month in sales in order to bring home $8,300.
Right. Once you minus taxes and all the other things.
Right. Minus out all the things that run your business for you. Right. And it's attaching it to that. But then the other side of it, you guys, is the people. Right. We get so attached to all the stuff in our business, and we get to Friday and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Right. But again, I'm the busiest broke person I know because I haven't actually accomplished anything. Right. So it's being really strategic and knowing that one of your most important, I call them IPAs, income producing activities, will always have something to do with people. So whether that's having a real conversation, having reach out, getting out to a networking meeting or a seminar or a workshop or a training, something to do with people. But the biggest part is those follow-up conversations.
Yeah.
So this is part of the system I take people through, is being really clear on your numbers, really clear on your goals, and what does that translate to what you need to sell, and how many people do we need to talk to, right? But it's creating, the people side of it is creating those long-term relationships and really supporting and serving. So it's this path that we go through that starts to shift that mindset to focusing on what's really important, not all the little things that take our time that someone else really could be doing instead of us.
Well, and it's nice to have a coach in that, kind of cheering you on, that you don't have to be afraid of stepping out and making relationships. You don't have to be afraid of your business and always afraid of what's going to happen. You can know all those numbers, being afraid of, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, because you know all those numbers.
Exactly.
I mean, I think those things are important for us to really have a good handle on, to know, like you said, where are we and where are we going to go, and where do we want to go, and how do we get there?
Right. So I think one of the coolest ahas after my first call or two with somebody is when we really look at their numbers, and 9 times out of 10, I will get this response. Oh, that's not so hard. That's not as many.
Oh, that's good to hear.
That's not as many people as I thought. Like, we have this worked up in our mind that we have to sell so much, we have to do so many things, and we're not really doing it because we're so busy.
Yeah.
But when we break it down, you guys, it's like, well, I only need to do this many things. That's not that hard.
I thought you were going to say the response is, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was spending that much. I had no idea.
Which is another part of it. Yeah. Oh, I need to really nip that spending in the back. Yeah.
Wow, who knew that was going on?
Right. When it comes to the sales side of it, it's just honing in, what are you really selling? Who is it for? Who's your customer? What are we looking at? And just focusing on that one path. When we focus on that, oh, I only need to sell 5 things at this price, and it's not that big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just amplifies it, and it's way easier when we just focus on what's important.
Especially when it's your area of expertise. We don't
Right.
need to be afraid, because what our area is what we're passionate about, is usually the easiest for us to talk about. And we want to help other people with whatever our product is, whether it's massage therapy, whether it's getting a great hair product, whether it's whatever it is that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever the service is. Yeah. You got into that business because you love it.
Yeah.
And you want to
Yeah.
get it out, and you want to have your message big and bold and out in the world, as you should. But if we're not doing the back end side of it and paying attention to it, you're going to be broke before you know it and not have a business, and you're not supporting or serving anybody.
And we just
that's
keep
a shame.
running. We just keep going and going and spinning our wheels and trying to make everything just be okay without. We need a plan.
It's
Got to have a plan.
It's because we weren't taught it.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know that. We were
Yeah.
taught how to balance a checkbook, if that. I remember in 4th grade, okay, this is how you write a check out, and then you put it in the bank. And then from there, finances, I mean, I think in, junior year, they try to teach you a little bit about the stock market, but it isn't even how
not
to
where
invest.
I went to school.
It was just how to understand it a little bit.
Just
And I
how to
can remember it
understand
was over my head, but they don't teach you anything except for how to go to work.
Right.
And get taxes taken out, and maybe you'll have a good 401k plan, and maybe should you do that or should you do an IRA, and then figure it out. Nobody's really talking about all the other things that, are, like entrepreneurship. Nobody.
Well, and personally, I grew up managing my household, and there was a lot to that. And I knew all my numbers. I knew what I had to do. I knew how to. So it's taking that and not being intimidated by taking that experience into the professional world, or taking that experience into your own business.
Good point,
Because there are some of us that we've raised our kids. I mean, and we've put a lot of time and effort into that, but we've gained a lot of experience
Because of that. Yeah.
And when you're running numbers in your household, that could be translated to running it in your business, but it's just having someone to help you kind of
Make that
learn
transition.
how to
And even
make
with that, yeah, exactly. And I am not a CPA, I'm not a bookkeeper. These are people that I encourage you to have on your team. As you're hiring, to have a bookkeeper, you guys, is the first person I always encourage these women to hire. It doesn't cost a lot of money to have someone else. And the reason I do, one, is because it's someone else looking at your numbers, and it is an accountability partner thing like nobody's
That's
business.
true.
No one wants to report a big fat zero to their bookkeeper, right?
And I just spent $100 on what?
Well, and also we have QuickBooks. We do it ourselves, and we're spending a lot of time ripping our
lot of
hair
time.
out and focusing
Oh,
on
yeah.
that, when maybe it's better to have somebody else do
Have
that
someone
for you,
else do it.
so
It
you're not
doesn't, like I
spending
said,
the time.
it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's, a really good bookkeeper will just keep it clean for you.
Yeah.
But what they'll do also is run reports and have a phone call with you once a month and say, here's some trends I'm seeing. Here's maybe what you can shift next month to make expenses differently. Or if this is a path you want to go down, here's some ways that we can do it.
Yeah.
And they will be a support person for you.
Yeah,
And it is
it's good to
well
look at it
worth
that
it.
way.
They'll actually probably pay for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, in the
Because they're
savings.
freeing up your time, freeing up
Absolutely.
your mental
Yeah.
power, where
Yeah.
you're not worrying
Yeah.
about it, so you can spend time
Yeah.
on creating whatever it is that you're creating. So it pays for itself.
Absolutely.
In the long
and
run.
it's not where you just okay, I'm going to give it to my bookkeeper and
never
release
check on it. Yeah,
Right.
no, it's-
But that's where a good bookkeeper, somebody in that realm, would say, okay, let's have a phone call once a month or at least once a quarter and go through everything so that you're aware of it. So what I teach is paying attention. Like I said, it's just like understanding your debt and your income and things in your personal life. It's the same thing in your business life and how it relates to paying you yourself.
Yeah.
So a lot of women
Yeah.
who have that inconsistency, right? In the corporate world, we call it paycheck to paycheck, but in the entrepreneur world, it's client to client. It's the same mentality. It's the same thing, right? You're desperate for the next client because you need to pay your rent. But if you separate it and that client is paying your business, but your business is paying you, right? So you maybe set up a regular paycheck from your business account, and it might be a little in the beginning, it might be whatever it is, but it's consistent that your business is paying you, not the client.
Right.
So it's this path that makes
Yeah,
it fluid,
yeah.
but it's emotionally separating
Right.
you, right?
Right.
And it keeps you separate, but it keeps the books clean.
Yeah.
But then the client's not paying you, the client's paying your business. And what
Yeah,
can your business
yeah,
do differently to
yeah.
create more clients?
Complete separate entity, even from yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a great perspective. And I mean, talking about all
Yeah.
this, having a good team, it's funny because I think as women, we get so into doing it all ourselves.
Oh, yes.
We just do it all ourselves. And I think switching our mindset to having a team can help us make more money, can help us do better in our business rather than feeling like we have to carry it and do it all ourselves.
Right.
It's, I think that is a good way to look at things where we don't normally do that.
Right,
you know,
exactly. And
necessarily.
I will tell you right now, I promise you will make more money the more you incorporate other people.
Yeah.
And the more you delegate and the more you put out there, and always get, well, I can't afford that right now, I can't do it.
Yeah, I can hear that right now
Yeah.
in
All
my
the
head,
time.
like
Well, I
women
can't-
going, I
I'm
can't
not to
afford
that
that right
place, I
now,
can't
so I'm
afford
going to
it."
have to I'm going to have to wear all of these hats. And I can understand maybe when you're, day one,
Right.
you're starting things.
Right.
But at some point when you find yourself unable to create because you're over here now trying to run your books and then also trying to market and also trying to do social media, and whatever it's taking to run that.
Right.
If you get to that point where that's happening, it's time.
Yeah.
Even if it
Yeah,
looks like you
absolutely.
can't afford it, and even if maybe you're not taking as much of a paycheck for a short time,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm
For
thinking.
sure. And there's even ways and I even talk about delegating, especially as women, we're always managing multiple things, right? We've got our personal lives,
Yeah.
so even if there's a way to incorporate family members or friends or other people in our lives to help with other things in our lives, to take some of those things off of our plate while we focus on something that is important in the business.
Yeah.
But the one thing in order to start down that path, Dori, is to really understand what your genius zone is. The more you understand what only you can do,
Right.
the more you can start preparing to put things off your plate and onto other people. So one exercise I love to do with people is just a mind map. And you can mind map your whole business. And so what that means is putting the business in the middle, and you just start brain dumping, kind of like a spider web out. It's like, okay, here's administrative stuff, whatever, all the administrative stuff, what happens there, all of my marketing stuff, what needs to happen there, all of my creation, what needs to happen there, all of my client fulfillment, what needs to happen there, right? All these different aspects of your business, and what are all the stuff. And really pinpointing, well, what's the one or two or three things that only I really can do in an ideal world, right? What is your genius zone? Circle that, highlight it. That's what you should be in 80% of the time.
I like that.
I like that too.
Because we push ourselves into places that we really
Exactly.
aren't supposed
Yeah.
to be. Somebody else can
Exactly.
be passionate about that. But
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
make ourselves go into those areas.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this the
I was
other
gonna
day
say,
about
we were talking
computer
about-
stuff.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are great about that. I mean, that's just not, we are people connecting people. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we love connecting with people. We love talking. which is
Well,
why
and
we're
it's not-
doing this.
It's not that we can't. It's like I
Yeah,
told you
right.
first, like
It's
I've
not that
built
you
a
can't.
website
Right.
before and I could do that. But
Yeah.
It's not your
But if
genius
she
zone.
and I are going to be doing this, I can't stay on top of that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then be in my personal life
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other things that I do.
Right.
And I don't even like it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We get
Personally,
we start
I
start
just
getting
makes me
mad
rip
about
my
it.
hair out.
Because you may be
because
good
it takes
at
us
something,
twice
but
as
you may
long.
hate it.
Yeah.
Well, but it also takes us twice as long to figure something
Right.
out. Where somebody else who does it every day it's like they show us, it's like, oh yeah, that was simple.
Or like my husband walks in, I'm like, can you please help me? He's like, again? It's like I'm taking his
Knowing
time.
those things, like you said, like if you can write all those things down and
Yeah,
know all of that,
yeah.
it starts to help you. It's like, I could pay someone for this one little project
Yeah.
that would take me 5 hours,
Right.
but it's going to take someone else
20
half
minutes
an hour.
maybe.
Yeah. And it's
Right.
worth it for that. So
Yeah.
instead of thinking
Yeah.
you have to hire a whole team of people to run your business,
Yeah.
brain dumping and getting all these steps out.
be
It's
done in
like,
chunks.
here's something I can do, and it is affordable, and I can have someone
Yeah.
do A to B, just this one project.
Right.
And every time I need this one project done,
Yeah.
I can call him or her and they can do it for me,
Yeah.
and it's done deal. Right?
Yeah, that's
but
great.
it saves
Yeah.
you time and money, but you don't know it until you've written it down,
Right.
you've gone through it.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
encourage you, just spend
Yeah.
30 minutes and just do this big old brain dump. It's like each
Yeah.
category of your business and your personal life too. What
Yeah.
really do I not need to be doing?
Right.
And this
That's
is why
good
we have
to look at
housekeepers
it.
now.
Just saying.
Yeah, or you just get a really really tiny place like this. You don't have to have one.
I know. I keep looking around the house when I really could do this. I'm too busy.
So true. So true. Well, I love this. I mean, this has been really very good to think about, honestly, streamlining business and life and bringing peace. Because when we are doing everything, it's very difficult for us to have peace and joy because we're overwhelmed with everything else. So if we are willing to give up some things and look at the big picture and organize, we can bring some more peace into our life and maybe more success. Also.
Absolutely.
Well, and also we were talking about the Utah Leading Ladies. Sometimes go into that group or a group like that. So maybe in other areas, and soon to be that will be in other areas.
Right.
That might be where you find resources of people too, and then also people that help you to be accountable, or people that work with you and give you ideas. And it's only once a month.
Yeah, and in the same boat.
Yeah, and in the same boat,
Yeah,
and
so
you start getting ideas from people. You're starting to collect. You're starting to collect contacts that down
and
the road
that's the
you
thing
never
is
know.
networking. Of course, we want networking to build our businesses, but networking is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Go into it with that attitude. Whatever organization you're part of, or local chambers, your local groups, or if it's a virtual group, whatever it is, show up as a giver and an expert in your space. Whatever your space is, show up and be an educator, be a giver. Ask people what they're excited about, what are they working on, what's a good referral for you, who in my network can support you. Show up with that. But when you've got chaos behind you, like we just talked about all this stuff, you're going to show up to these events thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to go networking because this is what everybody tells me I need to be doing and I need to go out. And then you start being super stressed and no one wants to really be with you because you're emanating stress. And then you become like, well, here's my card. We'll connect later. And it's she who passes out the most business cards wins, right? Which is so inaccurate. It's so inaccurate. It's showing up in peace and with strategy. And
be
asking.
yourself.
And
Be yourself and just ask questions. Learn more about someone else. So I have a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm so afraid. I've been watching what you've been doing online, and I finally made it to an event, which I'm always so proud of these women when they do, when they come and tell me these things. I'm like, I get it. I'm a true introvert too. I might be on stages speaking and I go out and I do all these things, but that is way easier than walking into a room of strangers, right? And I fully get it. So if you show up, one, with the intention of, I just need to meet one or two people. That's all. And in order to take that shyness or that pressure off yourself, that fear, one good way is to show up just by asking questions to someone else. And if you go to someone and say something like, I'm new here. What brought you to this event? I'm new. Are you new too? And just ask that. And they may be new or they may not be. Or just say, what brought you to this event today? And it kind of puts the pressure, it puts it out on someone else. But that's a way better question than, hi, I'm Lori. What do you do?
Right. Well, most of the women
That's
there
a closed-ended question.
They're there because they want to help other people.
Right.
And even if you show up not really knowing what you want to do, but you know that you want to get out in the world, you maybe feel like you have many different ideas. Like me, when I first showed up, it's like, I have a bagillion things that I'm doing. And the thing that I love the most there is that I'm starting to find what I might actually really be good at by talking to women, and then when you tell them a little bit of your experience, your story, and it draws them in, and you start to see what it is that maybe the direction that maybe you should be going. But nonetheless, you're there making contacts, you're getting ideas, and people that are willing to help you find what your genius is actually, or what your path could be.
And when you listen to others, you learn so much.
So much.
When you open yourself up and ask questions and have them talk to you, you can learn so much, and you can create great relationships that are outside of even business. So some of us need to just have friends. So it's nice to know that it's not always just about business. It's about real relationships with other women that are in the same place that you are, and you can help each other.
And you can help each other, and you can really find those needs. And there may be a new client in that room. There may be someone that they know. So again, it's you stepping into your expertise, whether you know what that expertise is yet or not. If you're in that stage where you know you want to change, you want something, and put that out there. Say, I'm really in transition. I know I'm good at these things, but I'm looking for some brainstorming, some ideas. That's okay to do at a networking meeting. But if you know what you're doing, you know your business, and you know what you're an expert at, show up in that space. Say, here's what I'm good at, and have those conversations. What's a good referral for you? How can we connect more? This is the person that I'm looking for. If and when you come across that person, I would love to chat with them. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not passing out a bunch of cards and thinking that you're a winner, right?
Yeah.
That's
Well, I've
not
not
how
passed
you
out
do
any
it.
cards, so
No, right?
because I haven't made any.
Just
We need to make some.
which honestly is actually okay, because then you're in charge. Ask for their card, and you're in
Yeah.
charge of the follow up.
Yes.
Not putting on someone else, or just pull out your phone and say, "Let's connect on LinkedIn."
That's
and
right.
That's okay.
That's right. LinkedIn's good too.
Well, if you're on LinkedIn, I started that years ago. Never got
Sister, you got to get on LinkedIn.
I'm on there.
LinkedIn is becoming a much more social platform. There's really
Yeah.
great.
So I need
groups
somebody to
there.
put me on LinkedIn. There's the thing. I need
Yeah.
to hire somebody to get me on LinkedIn.
All kinds of people out there will help you with it. That would be a good intern too. You could have interns for free.
Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. Well, we were talking about sharing a most embarrassing moment. So do you
my
have
goodness
something? Now,
sakes.
we try to remember to ask our guests that because it's a fun thing. But
We've forgotten a couple of times. You
Yeah.
got to get back on the
Oh,
wagon.
you
so
guys.
tell us one of your most embarrassing.
Okay, I have many. I'm just an embarrassing person sometimes.
We had a whole show on that.
We did. We did one time.
So a lot. One that I can. This is a doozy, and honestly, I don't think this story has ever been told outside of the room that it happened in.
Oh, no, this is good.
Oh, you
Like
guys.
juicy.
I'm already like I can feel myself getting red even talking about it. Okay,
You are red.
It's so embarrassing. Okay, so I was at a corporate training event. So I was the trainer at a day long. So there were several trainers there, and it was my turn to get up. And I was going up the stairs along the side, and there was a curtain. You know, at stages how there's a curtain,
Yeah.
so you don't see the stairs.
Right.
So I was going up the stairs while the gentleman was introducing me, and I trip on the stairs and crashed, and my knee hit really hard. And thankfully, they didn't hear me out front.
That you know of.
But I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was wearing like slacks. I was wearing pants. Thankfully, I wasn't wearing like a above the knee skirt or anything. I was wearing slacks. But you guys, I crashed like nobody's business. So I get up there and I'm like breathing. Okay, breathe. Okay, breathe. Okay, breathe. Oh my gosh. Because I didn't want to mess up the schedule. I didn't want to say anything because I knew that we were on a schedule of trainers and this whole thing. And so I get to the end and I had done my whole thing and I'm like trying not to walk because every time I walked, my knee was like, oh my gosh, that hurts. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I did to my knee, but it really hurts. And the gentleman was the host came up at the end to thank me for the training. Then he comes up and he kind of like stands near me and he's like, Lori, you look like you're limping a little bit. Did you hurt your leg? But did something happen? Thinking that it had happened a while ago.
Oh, no.
And then finally, I'm like, all right, everybody, I'm going to come clean. So I'm in front of like, a couple hundred people in this room. I'm like, all right, everyone, I'm going to come clean. And I didn't know how bad it was. And I like lifted up my pant leg and I said, this happened right before I walked on stage. I tripped on the stairs. You guys, it was so bad. It was like, it was bleeding.
no.
It was like,
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know.
And you
until I-
stood up there and talked.
and I
How
did the whole
long?
thing, and the poor guy was like, "Oh my gosh, someone come help her!" Medic! I was mortified. I'm like, I did not know it was this bad, but thanks.
And she passes out.
I'm done. I'm out. No, thanks for having
Wow.
me. Yeah, it was mortifying. It was talked about for many years after that.
Yeah, well, I think what you did is you set the standard, the bar high. Like if you come in, and if you
say you're going to be on that stage and train,
you better be on there.
you better suck it up and be out there.
I don't care if
was
you are
out there
puking.
with, like,
This woman barely took
my
her
knee was bleeding. It was black and blue. It was swollen. It was
Oh,
so
my
bad.
word.
It was out there, and they're like, we couldn't even tell. It was, and I'm like, until I saw me limping because I was dying at the end.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was embarrassing, especially a year later. And I was like, hey, remember that time? I do
Yes,
remember. Thank
I
you for
do.
bringing it up
Yeah.
again.
How could I forget?
Oh, good times. Thanks for that.
At least
for
I didn't
sharing.
hear you, or there wasn't some expletive or
Right.
something that would be like, ah.
Right.
Yeah, like a big old F word.
Well, and there was a woman back behind stage who was right by me because she was shuffling me onto the stage, and she was, of course, panicking, like, just breathe. I'm okay. Just breathe. We're good. I'm good. I got it.
Wow, that's called deferring pain. She's an athlete.
Yes.
Yeah,
good
for
times.
sure. Well,
Wow.
thank you so much for being on our show, Lori.
You are welcome.
Especially because you have such a great name.
Right?
Yes.
Gotta love it.
Well, let our listeners know how they can get hold of you? Because you're telling me that you work with people all across the nation, not just in
I
the
do,
state,
absolutely. I actually
but-
have clients all over the world. So I
Awesome.
travel, like I said, I've been to Kenya. I've got clients in Europe. I've got clients in Canada.
Wow.
Across the nation. We live in a digital age, so I want all our business owners to know that too. You don't need to be just in your neighborhood.
Right.
We have videos. We have all kinds of resources that you can help people. So yeah, I serve people everywhere. And my website is LoriHildebrand.com.
Can you spell that, Lori?
Yeah, that one is a little tricky, I know. So Lori, Lori, and Hildebrand, Hildebrand.com.
Okay.
Luckily, it's spelled exactly like it sounds.
It is.
It is.
Yeah,
We
you
don't
never
add
know,
extra
though.
letters, no these random letters in the middle or anything. It's just Hildebrand.
Lori Hildebrand.
Great. So hopefully some of these ladies will get a hold of you. I know we all need a little bit of help. So
Absolutely. And I'll
let's
do free
reach out for it.
consultations. There's on the website, there you
Awesome.
can apply for a free consultation. I do ask for, it's about a 5-minute application to make sure that you're going to put the effort into it and it's going to be worth your time and my time. And so spend that 5 minutes and fill that out and I'll get a glimpse of your business and I'm happy to chat with you.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
That's awesome. Let's be
Yeah.
more productive and more focused and make a little money.
Yeah, and turn that hobby you love into a business if you are wanting to have a little bit more money, so that you can have a little more time.
Right.
Yeah.
More time,
More
more
time,
money,
more money.
more serving, making the world a better place.
Working smarter, not harder.
Yes.
what I like to
all
call it.
about that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure. And
you, ladies.
We'll see you next time. Ciao.
Everybody get up.
This has been Fit and Hippie with Dori and Lori.
Until next time, make good choices.
Don't forget to share and subscribe if you like our podcast, and you can find us at fitandhippie.com.
That's fit in the letter in hippie.
And you can find me, Lori, at Mom to the Nines, which is mom, the number 2, the word the number 9, and an S.com.
And you can find me, Dori, at DoriMadsen.com. That's DORI Madsen.com. You know, Dori, the fish. Okay. Is that all of it?
Yeah, I think so. Ciao. Make good choices.
Hey, you stole my line.
I had to say it. Okie dokie. Now we're recording.
Shakalaka. Chicka bow wow. Chicka bow wow. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and
There
me.
she goes again.